I wasn't expecting things to go quite as well as they're going quite this quickly. I was expecting to have to struggle a little bit with what we've done here in Liverpool. And in total honesty, I think we might still run into some problems because we're getting to the point where upgrades and projects are really expensive. So we really need to start increasing our profits. And I don't know about you, but I really want to start taking some fuel down to Mullingar. And I think we're going to have to use this train station in Belfast West to make that happen. And let's not forget that we do have a ridiculous number of vehicles going from Liverpool to Leeds to make all of our fuel. So we have some optimizations ahead of us, and I think that's what I'd like to do today. So let's get started down here in Mullingar. We're going to work backwards from here to Leeds and gradually put in everything we would need to get some fuel into Mullingar. And to do that, we're going to have to, well, we're going to have to pause things for a little bit because I need to move these train tracks. So we'll go in and basically just disconnect all of this. And I'm going to use this as an opportunity to tidy up this train track a little bit because I don't love this giant curve that we have going around here. So I'm going to bring this right back to about there. And over on this side, we're going to take out this entire stretch of track as well. And that gives me a little bit of space to work with. Now, what I'm going to do is come in here and bulldoze some buildings. I'm going to bulldoze this road as well. And I'm going to bulldoze these roads because what I'd like to have in here is, let's see, I want to turn, I think, this into a main road, which is going to remove buildings. It is going to move buildings as well, but I want that to be kind of a main road. And I think that'll do for now. I don't need to overdo it here. And then from here, I'm sort of thinking I might put a passenger train station here because at some point we do want passengers going back and forth. And I think that's going to be important. We can also expand this a little bit with a cargo platform at the back so we can bring cargo to this same station. So I think we'll go for 240 meters. We are going to be going for some bigger trains here. So this is going to be a pretty good idea, I think. And I don't know if that's the best place for it, but that's where this is going to go. Now, what we can do, like I said, is go ahead and put a new section of track right at the back here. We can then go and get some cargo platforms for the back of this as well. Now, the trick with this is that technically this is going to mean that I can bring passengers back up from the Dublin direction, but we might actually be better doing a little something like this and then putting another section of track in here because we're only really bringing cargo in one direction. We're not bringing cargo up from Dublin and Cork and all of those places. So something like this should be fine. This gives us some passenger stuff in both directions, which I think is great. We can put some platform roof pieces in here as well, just to make it look a little bit better. And if I wanted to, I could do some cargo buildings. I'm slightly tempted to do some cargo buildings. We are dealing with smaller passenger buildings at the front here. I don't think we can fit the medium ones in. So I think what we'll do is put some passenger buildings here just to sort of, I don't know, make this look a little bit more interesting, a little bit more, there's a little bit more going on with this, I think. We do have a lot of clock towers on this, which is maybe a little bit excessive, but you know what? I think it's going to look good. We spent ages detailing some docks in that last episode. I think I can get away with a little something here, and I do think maybe a cargo building at the back would be kind of cool. I don't know if we need a large cargo building. That might be a bit excessive, although it does look really good. So I'm very, very tempted. Okay, so this ended up being a little bit more involved than I thought it would be. I did end up bulldozing some more buildings and flattening some terrain here, but that's honestly probably for the best. What I would like to do now is at least reconnect my existing train lines so that I can get that running again and keep the game running while I build all of this, because I'd like to keep making money. That's kind of important. So we'll get some parallel tracks down there. We'll get this running up this way, and this should be okay. We should be able to go out and around this station without too much issue. I'm going to sort of push this to about here, and then hopefully I can just bring this straight over. That looks like it's running in a straight line. So we'll bring this straight through to about here, which is going to mess with that road a little bit, but that's okay. We'll bring this down to about there. And the train does slow down going around that. So maybe bring this track back ever so slightly and then connect it around like this. And that gives us a tunnel. It keeps the 75 mph speed as well, which is great. And so what we'll do is turn off parallel tracks and then go in here and just connect this the entire way over to there, which is a little bit expensive, but at the very least, this should now be up and running. I do think I've interrupted, yeah, the Dublin to, wait, what is this line that I've messed with? The Dublin to Mullingar. Yeah, I've interrupted a line over here, unfortunately, somehow. How have I done that? Isn't this connected? I'm not, wait, what? Hold on a minute. Oh, I've interrupted the connection between the, between the towns. Okay. That's fine. I can repair that. We're not going to get the game running just yet because I do need to fix that. And I also need to figure out how the connections to this guy are going to work because I haven't quite figured that out yet. So my thinking is that this should probably come straight out, which means we are going to have a little bit of a tight curve on this, unfortunately, which is probably going to slow things down a little bit, but we can do something like this. That seems okay. We can run you into here, which seems okay as well. That doesn't connect the cargo line, unfortunately, which might have to come out and sort of connect in here all sneaky like. So maybe to about this spot. And then, I mean, this cargo line doesn't even need to connect down here now that I think about it. It does need to connect up this way, but we have more space to play with for this side of things. So we'll bring you straight out. We'll turn parallel tracks back on, and that gives us this section. We will bring you straight out. Do I want to just connect them up like that? I don't know that I do. I don't know that I need to. Let me see. How is this cargo line going to work? Do I just want to merge it across? That doesn't give me a lot of space, but I'm also probably not going to have that many trains going back and forth here. I think I'd like to give it a little bit more distance, although I do think merging these guys together is going to be for the best, because what it means is we'll just have one crossing for this road rather than two very close to each other. So we'll bring the trains across. We can turn parallel tracks back on and extend this out a little bit to about there. Should be fine. And then we'll start merging this guy across. So this is going to let it go to Belfast. And then if we have another point here, that lets it get into the little cargo area. So that should be fine. We'll turn parallel tracks back on. We'll bring it through this road, I guess, which isn't going to work with parallel tracks, but that's okay. And now I just need to bring it up to everything else, which I want to see the contour lines for, because yeah, I had a feeling there was going to be a big old hill right here. So I think what I'm going to do is just come straight off of here, and that should give me a decent little angle to work with. That's actually not going to be a steep enough angle to work with. We'll go off of here instead, and that looks like it'll be a little bit better. The train might still slow down coming around here, but that's not going to be the end of the world. What I'd like to do is just bring this straight over to there. It doesn't really slow down. It does carve away at this hill though, which I don't love. So if I sink this down, can I get a tunnel? I totally can, which I think I would like here. I think a tunnel is going to be for the best going through that hill. So we'll go ahead and do that. It does give us the parallel track already, which is great. So now I can turn off the contour lines, and now I can just bring this through to that spot right there. And that's kind of perfect. That comes straight down. It could have been a little bit of a better curve on this, but I'm not super worried about that. It comes down, it goes into Mullingar. It can continue through as a passenger line. The cargo line doesn't continue through because it doesn't need to. This curve could be a little better, but I think that's pretty solid. And that's, I mean, the cargo line's not going to be running just yet. It's not something I'm too worried about, but this is solid. This is what I'm looking for. Now, when it comes to that road connection, unfortunately, we are going to have a couple of crossings here, which I don't necessarily love. I can't really lower them down either. So I think what we'll do is try to fix this terrain a little bit. We'll hit it with a smoothing brush to start with. I'm going to hit it with a flattening tool as well, just to see if that's going to work with me a little bit. And then if I bring this road straight over, what does it look like? It looks rough. It looks a little rough, but you know what? That'll do just fine. We'll go ahead and smooth that terrain again to make it look a little better around the tunnel and around that road. And then what I can do, I suppose, is, I guess, redo this entire connection while we're here. That might not be the worst idea in the world, although we really don't need to do that. So maybe I'll just keep it cheap and we'll just do this. We'll just bring this over. We can upgrade this little stretch of road into something a little bit faster for whatever vehicles are coming through. And that should keep everybody happy. And that should let everything run now, which is great. We are missing signals. That's kind of the one thing I forgot to do here. So let's very quickly go and fix that problem by putting a signal right there. We'll put a signal kind of between these guys. And with a few more signals around the place, this whole thing is up and running, which is fantastic. Let's go ahead and smooth out this terrain so it doesn't look quite as terrible as it does. Let's make sure the same thing's done over on this side as well. And then that's going to bring us to Belfast West. In fact, no, I said we're working backwards is what I said we're doing. So we actually need a little cargo stop in here somewhere. I'm going to put it over on this side. And I think what I'll do is also just connect up this road right about here, so that I can have my cargo stop, I want to say in here, if it's going to let me do this. Now, for the time being, we're only picking up one thing. Oh, that fits so perfectly. It's such a tiny little cargo stop, though, is my problem. But we're only, like I said, we're only picking up one thing here. So we don't need a lot of cargo space. I'm going to try this, is what I'm going to try. Because I know for a fact I can go in there and get an extra platform here. And then I wonder, oh, I can't get buildings over on the other side. Oh, that's such a shame. That would have been so good if I could have done that. But I guess that works, right? That's our little cargo depot for this guy. And then Mullingar wants fuel. So we're going to bring it around and we'll just drop it off right in the middle of town, right about here. Seems like a solid spot for it. I could go right about here as well. This might actually be better. So that's what we're going to do. And that's what we're going to set up. So we're going from here. We're going to here. It is now road cargo, Mullingar, and it is fuel to city is what it's going to be. That's going to be a little brown line right about there. We're not going to worry about vehicles for it for the time being because it's not going to be up and running for just a moment, but that should be solid. I can do some little decorations in there. In fact, I think I'm gonna just do a little something with some trees just to fill that space because I can. Just something like that. Looks wait, can I put them on this? Why can I put them on this? That's a little strange, but yeah, that looks fine. We'll do some trees in here as well, just to sort of fill that space. And I'm going to do some trees over here for the time being, just to sort of fill a little bit of this space as well. Just to, I don't know, hide my crimes a little bit, I guess, is what I'm doing. That looks okay. It'll have some buildings around it eventually, and it'll look sort of neat once it's actually like built into the town a little bit. But for now, it's going to just be a little bit bare, and that's totally fine. I think we'll just do it a little bit more for tree work right there. That looks all right. Okay. So now with that line in place, now we need to go to Belfast. And unfortunately, we are going to be doing some more bulldozing here because this tunnel needs to be brought back so I can get a third platform onto this station. And I might also make this, I might also use this as an opportunity to make this station a little bit longer. I don't think that would be a terrible idea at all. So that seems far enough for the tunnel. This guy now, if we go and configure you, let's do a new section of platform here and here. Let's do a new section of platform here and here. And yes, it's cutting away an absolute ton of the terrain, but I'm going to be doing that anyway. That gives us a bit more room for storage for bricks and planks. Over on this side then, I don't think I'm going to need two sets of tracks. Although if I did do two sets of tracks, if I were to do something a little bit like this, I could be cheeky and put a passenger platform over there, which would let us bring passengers from Mullingar or from anywhere up to Belfast West, and then we take them by train over to Belfast, which seems like a solid idea. Unfortunately, this road's going to have to go for a second because in fact, unfortunately, some of my trees are going to have to go as well so I can see what I'm doing. Let's clear out some of this space as well. So again, I can sort of see what I'm doing. And then for here, I'm wondering, can I don't want to bulldoze everything. I also don't necessarily need a ton of buildings here, but I'm wondering if I bulldoze you, can I, by any chance, get a little cargo building that doesn't look terrible? I can get the medium one if I get rid of some other stuff. I can get the small one if I put it there. which I don't love the look of. I don't know if we need the main buildings for this, or if I can just get away with the small ones. It would be kind of cool if I could. That is the small main building, right? Yeah. Yeah, the sizing on this kind of sucks. Unfortunately, we're going to have a weird gap on this regardless of what I do, which I don't love, but I think I'm just going to have to deal with it. So we'll go ahead and put a small cargo main building here, I guess. I mean, it's yeah, right about there. Seems fine. Okay, so this exists now. It looks about as good as I think it's going to, and I do think we might want to flatten some terrain over here as well, because I'm wondering if I could get like a little bus stop just into this area. So if we remove those trees, can I, by any chance, get a little bus and tram station just next to this station here? Now, apparently, if I hold, I think it's holding C is what I'm doing now. It gets rid of the snapping, and I should be able to just sort of do this to make this work. So we'll make this a little bit longer. I'm going to give it 2 platforms because I think that probably makes sense. And I'd like it to be as close to in line with the station as I can get, which unfortunately I don't think I'm going to be able to do. It's not going to be perfectly in line unless, actually, if I just do this and I'm going nuts with terraforming is what I'm doing. I really shouldn't, but I am. Because I can do this, right? I can extend this little bit of road out, and then now this is going to be perfectly in line with the train station, which is kind of what I want. So let's do this. I think that looks pretty good. I would like to configure this a little bit because I think having the platforms be a little bit longer is going to look a little bit better. And then I can do like a nice large building down there, and I could do some little small buildings just sort of around the sides, I guess. That seems unnecessary. So don't know how I feel about that one. Can I get this in like the middle? Can I get any of these in the middle? It doesn't seem like I'm going to be able to. That's fine, I suppose. Is that as close to the middle as I'm going to get? No, that looks terrible. Okay, so now I need to come through here and reconnect these train lines. And I'm wondering if I was to disconnect this road for a second and go in here and take out these underground sections, can we maybe get away with a little bridge to bring this all together? This entire train line is going to go back a little bit because I want to straighten that out anyway. And that should be fine. We'll go back a little bit further because it's not quite even up here, which is slightly annoying me. But taking all of that out has fixed that. That train's in the wrong side of the track right now, but we'll not worry too much about that. A little bit concerning, but not the end of the world. What I can do, though, is go in here and flatten this terrain, which, again, ton of money to do this, but kind of necessary because we're dealing with a lot of tracks is what we're dealing with. So my thinking here is we will bring this guy out in a nice straight line. We'll go to, let's say, roughly that spot. We'll do the same thing on this side and bring it out to roughly the same spot as well, because that gives us some crossover points for the tracks, which I think is important. So anything coming in on this side that needs to go to the passenger side can cross over here. Anything coming out on this side that needs to go to the other side can cross over right about here. And we'll try to do it in roughly the same spot on this side as well. So roughly there is fine. And roughly about there is going to be fine as well. So that's going to let them cross back and forth, which is priority number 1. Priority number 2 is going to be merging these guys into something that kind of makes sense. So we'll just flatten this terrain a little bit further. We are going to smooth a lot of this. We are going to sort of make this look decent in just a moment. But I think the easiest way to do this is probably to just merge this guy over into that other set of tracks. So once again, we'll bring you out. We'll keep it nice and parallel. And I'm not super worried about keeping this little crossover super high speed. It is going to naturally slow down as it crosses over to the other set of tracks anyway. So that's fine. I'm sort of okay with that. And then from here, I just need to connect from you all the way through here to that set of tracks right there. And that does give us another tunnel, which I'm okay with. Where does it exit though? It is exiting right there. That's not the end of the world. And honestly, it's relatively high speed through there as well. So we'll go ahead, I suppose, and build that. It's not going to give me the parallel track because we are crossing a road, but I can just do the rest of this myself by going to about there. And again, looks pretty solid. You need to turn around is what I need you to do. You are very much going the wrong way, which is going to be a problem because now it has to go back down to Limerick and then turn around that way, but it should be all right. What we can also do is just replace some signals. I like to put them either side of a road so the trains aren't blocking any roads. We'll do a signal going into and coming out of the tunnel, so we have a bit of space in here, and we will do a signal just about here, and then here, and here, which might cause some problems with these crossover points. I'm a little bit worried about that, but we should be okay. We should be able to manage that. There's not going to be enough trains going through here that I think that's going to be that much of a problem. We'll do some signals here as well, just to see what happens, I suppose. So that should mean that anything coming out of here gets priority to cross over. That should work. That should be everything we need for that track. So what I'd like to do now is go in. We can actually let the game run again because this will all be functional. We can start to smooth a lot of this is what we can do. In fact, I'd like to bring this terrain back up as much as I possibly can, just around the tracks. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to let me just, it's going to let me get some bridges and stuff in here, which I really want to do. So before I smooth this, I guess what we do is bring that back, grab you, go over like this. That gives us a pretty decent looking bridge. In all honesty, I think it looks pretty good. We don't have anything else available. So let's approve of that. Let me upgrade this road so it kind of matches everything that we're doing. We'll upgrade this road as well. And you know what? We'll upgrade this road because we can. So now I can hit this with a smoothing brush, and now it should look kind of interesting, I guess. It certainly looks a little bit more interesting than just the tunnel that we had before. I like that a lot, actually. I really do. I think that looks great. The last thing we need to do then is go in with some trees just to, I don't know, give a bit of life back to this space since I kind of took it away. And I think that looks pretty good. I like this a lot. We have the trains crossing over and doing everything that they need to do. We don't have any trains on the wrong sides of the track, which is great news. So we have this one heading out and doing its thing. We should have another one coming in here, which we absolutely do as well. That one should be staying. Yep. It'll be staying on the right side of the tracks as it comes in here, which is perfect. And this now gives us an opportunity, I suppose, to say that we want to create a new line from here that is going to go all the way to Mullingar. So a little something like that. So it goes in and then comes out on the same track. It crosses over and stays on the right side going back, which is beautiful. It does everything it needs to do in here, which again is exactly what we're looking for. So we're going to call that train cargo, and it is, we'll call it a Mullingar line, I guess. So Mullingar, and we'll say it is also just fuel to city, because that's essentially what it is. Oh, now we just unlocked a new bus, which has me thinking that now would be a really good time, especially since we're bringing passengers down here sooner than later. We should do some kind of public transport loop around Mullingar. Now I would really like to get trams going around here because I'm really enjoying the trams, but I sort of want something a little bit more adaptable. So I think we are going to go for some buses. I think that might just be the best way to do it. And I'm thinking I might experiment with two loops going around here. So one that sort of goes to here, and then it comes down this way. It sort of goes down this way. It can stop, say, there. And then the other one is sort of going to go in that opposite direction into the other part of the town. So it comes down here. It can go up to there. It can go, honestly, all the way up to here is fine. And then it loops back around to the station, and that should be all right. So what we'll do is say new line. We want to go and say in this first direction, we're going to have it go up to here, all the way up to there. And that again, just loops around the way I would want it to. Well, no, it doesn't actually. I need it to I need it to have a waypoint is what I need it to have. So we'll get a waypoint. We'll just put it right here. We'll go back to this line, and after Queen Street, you need to go to the waypoint so you loop around properly, and that'll be road passengers, Mullingar, and it's loop number 1. And very simply, we have loop number 2 going in the opposite direction. So let me get myself some vehicles. We'll go for passengers. We do have the post bus ET13. This was something that was unlocked, I think, between this episode and the last. This one is so much faster though. So I'm going to say I want 3 of these guys. I'm not going to make them brown for the actual vehicle. We'll make them sort of a nice orangey color, I guess. And you know what? I would like to duplicate those because I want 3 per line. We'll go ahead and say that that goes on to road passengers, Mullingar loop number 1. And then you guys, road passengers, Mullingar loop number 2. So that'll get people moving around, which is great. While we're here, we can do, I guess, some train passengers. I guess it's time. I guess we're gonna experiment with this a little bit. Is what we're gonna do. That's going in where I need it to go. It is not going where I would like it to go at this point, though. Does it need to go to the second platform in Mullingar for it to work properly? It absolutely did. Okay, so here's the problem that I have. I used TP for tram passengers. I might need to rename that to just like TR. So we'll call this train passengers, I guess. We'll say it is Belfast to Mullingar, and that'll be all right. We'll make that a nice red line so I can clearly see it in here, which I now can. And then, yeah, we might need to just change all the tram loops to be TR, since trams can only be used for passengers anyway. Maybe it's a little bit redundant to put, you know, tram passenger. Now, before we go ahead and actually get ourselves a passenger train, I want to come up to this spot right here in Belfast, get rid of some of those buildings, and I would like to build myself a bus/tram station in here, because what I can do is bring the trams into here from this stop, which I think would make a little bit more sense. So if we manage this, we can say after Green Lane, it goes here, and then we get rid of Green Lane. So this is our first stop for the trams. And then this is how we're going to get people out to the train is what we're going to do. So from Upper Belfast, it is going to go over to Belfast sidings. It is road passengers. It is, I guess, Belfast. And it is, oh man, how are we going to describe this? I guess train shuttle or something like that is how we'll do it. That seems fine. I guess we'll make it bright red the way we usually do. And now we need some vehicles for it. So what we'll do is go into here. We can get ourselves this bus right here. We'll get 3 of them. We'll paint them bright red. We'll say it's going on the road passengers, Belfast train shuttle line. And now we need a passenger train. Now we actually get to move people by train up and down from Belfast to Mullingar. We have 20 million that we can spend on this. And here's the interesting thing, actually, before we do this. I do want to upgrade our existing trains because they are getting old. This one is 32 years old, which is ridiculous. I think that might be lifetime in general. For train 3, which has been upgraded, at least the locomotive's been upgraded once in a while. But here's the thing. I would like to replace these vehicles with something new. I would love to use the A35. And then if we look at cargo, the old box car can carry 4, the new one can carry 8. The old flat car can do 4, the new one can do 8. So in theory, we could get a faster train with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those. And that's fine. That is going to be faster. It has the same capacity overall. But the thing is, to replace all 3 trains on that line is $16.5 million. And I don't really see a point in replacing them with something that is just faster without more storage space. The other problem is, if I do this, I don't have the money right now to get a faster set of trains for the other cargo line. So what I'm going to do is just get myself a passenger line, and we'll deal with the upgrades for the existing lines a little bit later on. Unfortunately, that means that the A35 on the passenger line is going to get stuck behind slower trains. That's fine. We will deal with that at some point. What I would like to do is get a capacity of 70 for this. It is 7.8 million. We're going to paint it a nice sort of dark red color because I think that looks great. And that is going on our Belfast to Mullingar line, which I am so excited about. I am so keen to see if people actually want to get the train between those two places. It'd be really, really cool if we could make this work. I also realized that I did say I was going to do something more realistic, like the Belfast to Dublin line. I might still do that at some point, but I don't think we have quite enough disposable income yet to make that happen. I don't think there's any sense in doing a dedicated train line through Dundalk and down to Dublin just yet. There absolutely will be, because as I've said, you know, Dundalk wants fuel, Omagh wants fuel. Omagh is getting fuel, never mind. My point being, once we start providing more stuff, more than just food to Dublin, the populations will grow, people are going to want to move around more. It'll absolutely work. I'm also realizing that with Dundalk wanting fuel, we actually have an opportunity, since we're just taking it by truck to Omagh. Dundalk is right there. If anything, it's closer. So I might run some trucks down here is what I might do. That might be a really good idea because, oh wow, Mullingar wants tools now. Of course they do. Okay. Yeah, I think we're going to do that. I think we're going to set up another line. So I think we're going to have to go in here and expand this little guy. So let me get myself another cargo platform here and here. I can't do there, unfortunately, but that's all right. I can do a little building in here. I would like to do a little building in there because I think it's going to look better. And that is going to be set up to go to Dundalk. But first, of course, smooth that terrain because it looks kind of terrible. And then go in there with some trees. Again, just to sort of hide my crimes a little bit. And then all we need to do is go from Belfast Central all the way down to this new truck stop in Dundalk. We'll say that is road cargo. It is Dundalk and it is fuel to city. Now, if I do this properly, which I'd very much like to do, we want to say that at Kingsway right here, this line is only going to be dropping off fuel, which is fine. If I now go and get myself some vehicles for that, if my mouse wants to behave and stop zooming in and out, we can go and say that we want some of these guys. We'll go for 5 of them to start with. I will paint them purple because it's fuel, I guess, and that is fuel to city. So that line is now up and running. Technically, Dundalk should now be a consumer of the fuel refinery over here. And it absolutely is listed as a consumer for the fuel refinery. So that's good. That is really, really good because we are also in a position where I can run cargo trains to Mullingar and they can also be a consumer for this refinery. So that I think is potentially going to be the next step. Although I'd like to look at some numbers very quickly. So you are... Your production is 180 right now. And this is kind of like, I need this to level up again for the oil refinery to level up again. So as we start moving things, your production will probably increase. If we could get you to level up, that would be amazing. We are transporting 82% of what we could be from the Liverpool oil refinery. So putting more vehicles on that line will bring more oil to the refinery and that will give us more production. So that might be something we want to do. Although Dundalk demand is climbing really nicely, which means production here is climbing really nicely as well. So this guy actually I think it is on its way to leveling up, which is beautiful. So we should see more fuel get loaded into the harbor. In fact, looking at this, it is so close to leveling up. I think it's pretty much guaranteed. So then when it comes to the fuel to Belfast line, the rate is only 93. I think what I'm going to do is double the number of vehicles in that line to bring us up to closer to 200. 185 is solid for the boats bringing fuel over to Belfast. That should mean that this guy is going to be even happier, and it is now starting to level up as well. We should be able to move a good amount of fuel over to, yeah, there's Omagh on its own was hitting the rate of the previous the previous line of ships. So having more ships there is going to be really good for us. Dundalk has 51, Belfast is 19, Mullingar is going to have a huge demand as well. because it's wanted fuel from the jump. So this is probably for the best. I'm also realizing, though, that we probably need to get our hands on another little depot thing here, because we're not going to have enough space to expand this one. So I think what I'd like to do is get a truck station in here, and then I can sort of fix the terrain around it a little bit. I'm also going to do multiple platforms on either side, just so it's sort of future-proofed a little bit. I think that's probably fair to do. So we'll build it right about there. We'll go in. We can expand the platforms closer to the road, which I think is fine. We could do some buildings back there, which I really enjoy doing. I love making these things just look a little bit more like that. I think it looks good. And then around this, we'll just smooth the terrain again, so it's you know, planted there a little bit. It's not quite as clear that I've just carved away a hill to build this guy. And obviously, you know, a few little trees will help with that as well. And so with this thing built, what I'd like to do is use this as a way to take fuel over to our new train line. Now, I'm not super worried about expanding this guy. I don't think we need to, since we're just dropping things off. This is gonna be road cargo. It is Belfast, and it is fuel to train is what it's gonna be. So we'll get that painted a nice bright red. In Belfast West, you are unloading fuel. So in Belfast East, that is the only thing you're going to be loading up on, which is fine by me. And you're dropping off on platform 5, which is also fine by me. So what we'll do is get ourselves some new vehicles from this guy. We'll go in and get, I don't know, 5 of these. Should be fine. We'll paint them that same purple color because they're moving fuel, and fuel to train is now good to go. The only thing we're missing is the train, and also the train line to oh wait, no, we're not missing the train line. We have the train line. I forgot about that one. So we're missing the train is what we're doing. So we'll go in here and, man, I'm trying to think, is there anything we could do? Could we could technically use this train to bring goods to Belfast, because it does have a demand for those, which would mean that the train is not running empty the entire way back to Belfast. I mean, it's not going to be running empty at all on the way back to Belfast. It's not going to be full, but it's not going to be empty either. I don't think we have the goods production for it right now. So I think very simply, we're just going to stick with a standard train. We could probably get away with using the PLM as well, because now that I think about it, don't the old cargo wagons, they have the 31 miles per hour? We could use the PLM, but we're going to be upgrading to the A35 anyway. So we'll do this, and we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those. Should be all right. And we'll paint them dark purple is what we'll do. It's gonna be a weird looking train, but we'll go for that. And hopefully we're now going to be in a situation where this works. Hopefully we're going to be in a situation where this does what I want it to do. I would like to manage this line and just make sure that in Belfast you are, oh yeah, you're only going to be loading up on liquids. Okay. Yeah. So we should start to move people. Oh, wow. We have a lot of people waiting in here. Amazing. We have one person wanting to go to Mullingar. We have 51 wanting to go to Belfast right now with a rate of 34. Let me put 2 more buses on that line right there. That means the passenger line's up and running. I love that. Let's also make sure that you are waiting in Belfast. So full load any, maximum stop time is going to be 10 minutes. I might just say unlimited stop time, actually. So this is just going to wait here until it has enough fuel. And then once it has enough fuel, I think that should be okay. I think we can make that work. So that train's just going to sit there. Very much okay with that. We have a bunch of people wanting to get that train shuttle down to Mullingar as well. We have some fuel sitting in here. We have none sitting in here. We have you coming over with 130. And if we look over towards here, we have 2 ships docked right now. This one has nothing on board. This one has 64 on board. I might have these guys wait as well. I don't know. I don't know if we need to do that. How are you looking over this way? You've definitely leveled up. Your production kind of sucks though. Mullingar is now getting factored into the equation though, which is great. So production should sort of increase. How are we looking over this way? You are doing all right as well. Okay. So we're not transporting as much from the Liverpool oil well as we could be. We're only moving 73%. We're not necessarily shipping enough to our consumers either. So let me look at this line. It has a rate of 220. We're looking to ship about 280. So I guess 100 vehicles. That's so many vehicles. It really should be a train line. It really, really should be a train line. I'm so tempted to build it as a train line. I think it would kind of make sense. Let me look at my contour lines very quickly. Could I build like a train line in here, take it through this little valley and over to Leeds? I think we should. My thinking was at some point I was going to have a passenger line going from Liverpool to Manchester to Leeds over to Scarborough. But I think just for efficiency's sake, I think this is what we need to do. I really, really do. So let me take out this road for a second. Let me do a tiny little bit of terrain editing very quickly, just to bring this all sort of level in here, because I think that's kind of important. So bring that over. Let's extend this road back out this way. And that's going to give me space for a for a train line is what it's going to do. We'll also just sort of tidy up that road a little bit. In fact, we'll tidy up the entire stretch of road right there, just make it a little bit neater. I think that looks all right. It's a little windy, but that's okay. Basically, what I want to do here is build myself a cargo terminus station. It does not need 2 platforms, so we'll just do the 1. And it is essentially going to live right here because all we're doing is using this. In fact, maybe I should do 2 platforms just for a bit of future proofing. But it's essentially going to live right here is my thinking. And then for Leeds, we need something that comes nicely into here. We could get away with something in here if I took out that upper part of road, which I'm not against doing either. So we'll take that out. We'll put a little terminus station, I guess, right about there should be fine. That is going to push some vehicles down through the city, which is also totally fine. And then since we're not taking this into... I mean, we're not taking this through Manchester or anything like that. We should just be able to run this sort of straight out to here. We'll get our parallel tracks, and somehow, some way, I need to connect these together. So let me have a look at my contour lines. We are going to be dealing with a bit of terrain choppiness here for a minute, unless I do a tunnel, which I'm not against doing. It might look a little bit weird, but I think a tunnel might be the way to go here. So we'll do a tunnel to about that spot, which is... Yep, absolutely parallel. And then essentially, I mean, we're doing a lot of uphill stuff in here, which isn't ideal for train lines. We are still carving out a lot of the terrain, which isn't ideal for me, but I think we kind of just need to do this. I'm kind of aiming for this sort of little valley right here. It's very, very small, but I think that's the best place to go to. All right, so I think this should do the job quite nicely. We are going to need some kind of train depot in here, though. So what we'll do is try our best to get something that just hugs this road right here, since it's a little bit out of the way. I kind of like that. For tracks, I'm kind of hoping I can just bring something out this way, which I can totally do, and bring something out this way, which I can also totally do. So that works just fine. We'll do a signal here just to stop the trains from kind of like, I don't know, doing whatever they do, which should be all right. We can do a signal here as well, just in case we need it, which we probably won't. And I guess now we want to set up a line that goes from here to there. It is train cargo. It is a Liverpool line, and we'll say it is oil to fuel is what we'll call that one. We'll make it that dark red line that we use for Liverpool. And then very simply, if I get myself a train for this, in fact, what I might want to do is, oh, wait a minute. I can make this more efficient. I'm being an idiot is what I'm being. I am being an idiot. This line is going to be oil to fuel to docks is what we're going to call it, because we're going to bring the fuel back and then we'll just use some trucks to run from whatever this is, Liverpool sidings over here down to the docks. So we're still going to have the trucks, just way less of them. So if we manage this line in Liverpool, we want to say that you are loading up on oil, unloading fuel. In Leeds, you are loading up on fuel, unloading oil, and that should be fine. That should work out. That should give us everything we need for that line. The change that we'll need to make is with Liverpool sidings right here. It's going to just go to the docks, but I'm going to do that after I get this up and running. We have 17 million, so I'm hoping I can get 2 trains to make this happen. We'll use the A35. We can use the tank cars. We'll do, I don't know, we have 17, almost 20 million. Let me do that for now. It is 7.9 million. That's okay. Let me paint it this purple color and let me duplicate it. Again, very expensive to do, but then I can put this on the oil to fuel to docks line, and we should see some oil getting loaded in here instantly, which we do. The next thing then is the oil to fuel line gets changed, so it is no longer going out to Leeds. It is just going from Liverpool sidings. So let me just take out all of these for a second. And we're going to say at Liverpool sidings, you are loading up on fuel. And that is all you are loading up on. I then want to bring it down through Liverpool itself down to here, where you are going to be unloading fuel and then heading back out, which is completely fine by me. I don't want them using this little road right here. This road keeps getting built by the town. So I'm going to put a waypoint out there just so I can send the trucks out on that road. I built that road for a reason. I want my vehicles on it. So that's what we're doing right there. And that will let them loop around. That gives us a rate of 468 right now, which is maybe a little bit more than we need. The rate on this line is 270. So for the time being, let's take out a chunk of these vehicles. In fact, the easiest thing to do, I think, is just sell all of them, get that money back, and we'll just buy enough to bring the rate back up to 270. So let's say we start with 10. We can paint them. I mean, they're moving fuel, so I'm going to paint them sort of an orangey color, and we're going to say that they're going on the Liverpool oil to fuel line, which now needs to be renamed Liverpool fuel to docks line. Has a rate of 47 already, so we'll duplicate you guys. That should bring us up to about 94. If I duplicate that again for 40 vehicles, that gives us, I guess, a rate of roughly nearly 200-ish. 187. Yeah, that's fine. So 40 vehicles will be enough on that. It is going to interfere with the line, but we've moved all of our cargo over to the train station now, which is a beautiful thing. We should have the trains coming through here, which we absolutely do. We have the fuel getting loaded in here as well, which is fantastic. And we should hopefully end up with some upgrades to some more of our buildings. And we should hopefully end up with more fuel coming down here for these ships, and thus more fuel going over to Belfast for all of our consumers. Just checking how we're looking here. Yeah, we have 5 consumers for this factory now, which is amazing considering we haven't even connected. I mean, Dundalk is connected. Oh, he got some new trucks as well. Very exciting. This is great considering we haven't connected Tralee or Cork to the whole line yet, or Castlebar, which honestly we could. We probably should connect Castlebar because we could just run some trucks back and forth right there, and that might be a really good idea for another consumer, but we'll leave it be for now and we'll see what happens. We have 7 people wanting to go to Belfast right now. We don't have that many in here. We have 54 wanting to go out to the train. I'm really happy with what we've managed to do here. I'm really happy with it. And I would like to see just how much money we're making when one of these trains brings 90 oil over here. We are looking at $1.1 million, which is really good news. I probably should have these trains sit around and wait for fuel to get loaded in here, but I'm hoping that with enough time, we will just sort of see that stockpile. I'm also thinking it might not be a bad idea to make these trains longer. I think that might be for the best. I'd like to pin this because the rate is 294 right now. If I was to modify these trains with, let's say, another handful of tank cars, we'll go up to 135, maybe up to 180. we'll sort of double it, essentially, is what we're going to do. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go. It is 8.4 million to do that. Interesting. Okay. Maybe we, oh, I don't want to get rid of the train. Hold on a minute. Let's say we modify one of them is what we're going to do. So we'll bring this up to 180 for the capacity. It's 4.2 million to do that. That's fine. We'll paint them that same dark purple color. And yes, that now means that one of the trains is able to carry a lot more, but that should be fine. We can remedy that situation at some point. But I think this is good. We have this guy loading up with a little bit of fuel, only half full with fuel, but that's better than nothing. And eventually we should just have an absolute ton of it coming over here and moving down to the docks, which happen to have a lot of people wanting to go to Belfast as well. I suppose technically you can now get in a boat, go over to Belfast, get in a bus that brings you, or a tram that brings you up to this little station, get in a bus that brings you over to the train station, and then get in a train that goes to Mullingar. So we're starting to see like big sort of passenger movement systems as well. I think it's difficult to know whether or not, you know, I might just be making that up is the thing. If I click on you, you are, can I see where your residential building is in Mullingar. The commercial building is in Belfast. Industrial building is also in Belfast. You live in Belfast, going to Mullingar. You live in Belfast. If I find someone that doesn't live in Belfast, I will be like, I would love to find someone that lives in like Liverpool. That would be amazing. But I don't think we're going to, unfortunately. Yeah, Belfast, Mullingar. Belfast, Mullingar. Is there anyone down this way right now? There are passengers here. I just don't know where they are. Are you, what are you doing? So you are going to a commercial building in Liverpool. Okay. That's kind of cool. You're going, where are you going? Where is that? You're going to Wales. Okay. All right. So yeah, we do have a bit of a back and forth going on. That's very cool. All right, so I think we might have reached a point where I need to upgrade and expand some of the lines in and around Belfast because we have a ton of fuel waiting to go to Omagh and Dundalk. So if we look at Dundalk, they want 75 fuel. So if I look at this guy, the rate is 21 right now. If I replace these guys with this new truck, it can carry a little bit more, which is great. That gives us a rate of 29. We'll go ahead and not replace them, but duplicate those guys, which gives us a rate of 59. If I get 2 more of those in there, that brings us up to 70. If I was to maybe get 1 more, that gives us 76. I guess 1 more wouldn't hurt, 82. So now we can move a ton of fuel to Dundalk. When it comes to the other line, taking the fuel to Omagh, the rate is 83 right now. Omagh wants 119. So I suppose it probably wouldn't hurt to, at the very least, replace these guys with the new truck, which brings us up to 117. Okay, so we're good on that front, which I'm very happy about. Belfast itself is getting brick deliveries. Are we doing okay with bricks in Belfast? We kind of are. I probably should just upgrade everything coming in here though, to be totally honest. We're not moving that many tools, but I think we'll just go through and upgrade. The bricks one can actually be a dedicated truck, which is pretty cool. I don't think it makes, oh, it does have a higher capacity. Okay. So the tools line can be upgraded a little bit, which is fine. The bricks line is only moving bricks. It's 55 vehicles. Let's replace it with you, which now brings us up to a rate of 252. I don't know if that's way too high for what Belfast wants, but that'll be manageable, I guess, is what it'll be. We'll come over and do the fueled train line thing as well. We'll replace these guys with the new truck, which gives us a rate of 39. I'm actually going to duplicate that line because I do think having a higher rate is going to be really important, given that we are using that line to serve as a train that services, well, just Mullingar right now, but eventually, I mean, Mullingar already has a demand of 78, so we're going to need a lot of fuel going to that train is what I'm getting at. When it comes to this space, I would like to make sure that all of these have been upgraded as well. So bricks to train, we can replace with this guy. The fuel train line has been upgraded. Logs to planks we can replace with this truck as well. The tools to city line has been fixed. Food to Dublin, honestly, probably should be upgraded as well to something like this. And food to Dundalk, we can upgrade as well to something just a little bit better. So hopefully, by doing that, we've got ourselves into a situation where this is all going to produce that little bit more. Consumers, for you, we are shipping as much to Limerick Tools Factory as we possibly can. I am wondering, so this place, consumers, it is only Belfast and Limerick right now, and we're moving as much as we need to. We don't need tools anywhere else here, do we? So I'm starting to think that maybe moving tools to Belfast and putting them on boats wouldn't be the worst idea, because I know Liverpool doesn't want them, but Leeds does. So we have a straight shot, you know, boat to Liverpool, truck to the train, drop them off in Leeds. Sheffield wants tools as well. That wouldn't be a terrible little production line, and that would give our Limerick factory more consumers and more room to upgrade. So that's definitely something I'm considering. I also didn't factor in the fact that we are apparently broke right now. I don't know how we've got down to minus 3 million or how that's come about. But let me have a very quick look at my balances. So what is costing me a ton of money? The Mullingar fuel line is costing me a ton of money. That kind of checks out. Belfast bricks to whatever is costing me a ton of money as well. And then we're making a ton of money on this. So that's interesting. I think I might have just spent a ton of money on vehicles is what I've done there. We'll be all right. Right? We should be all right. I'm a little worried about you not having much fuel, but we should be fine, I think. So there's one last thing I would like to work on today before we wrap things up, and that is the situation that is developing right here, where we have so much traffic coming through here that it's proving to be a bit of a bottleneck. So what I would like to try and do is create some kind of little bypass that goes around this area, because there are a couple of my lines that don't need to go down here. They just do, because this is basically the only way to go. So I'm going to bring, how do I want to do this? I'm going to disconnect this completely, which now forces all those vehicles out and around there, which is not what we want to do. But that is completely fine for now. We're going to bring you back a little bit further. And then I'm wondering if I want to play around with a bit of a wider road for this. I don't think it would be the worst idea in the world to go for something a little bit more chunky, but I also think I need to flatten some terrain here to kind of make this work. So flatten this out and then grab a road from here to there, because I need it to basically be level, or as level as I can possibly get it to be. So we'll maybe bring the terrain back a little bit further. And then again, we grab from here, we bring this through to about here, and that should be fine. I want to bring this straight over. So a little bit more flat terrain here, just again, so I can kind of do this. And then my thinking is I could connect up like this. So that brings us, I mean, yes, it puts some junctions very close together, but that should be okay. The next thing I would like to do is flatten all of this out and just continue to bring this road sort of out to here, because I want to bring it around the back of this sawmill. Although I'm not 100% sure if it needs to be this big of a road, but basically disconnect this part. We will bring this guy straight out here and then connect those together. Is my thinking. So very, very simply, we're just doing something like this. I'm going to disconnect this road for a moment as well, because I want this to be as neat as it can possibly be, which I don't think that is. So I think maybe just doing a slightly larger curve is going to look better, which it absolutely does. And then if I just start to reconnect some things, like maybe taking this road out of there completely to remove one of the intersections in that road is going to be a good idea. Maybe connecting this guy up to this intersection will kind of work for us. And I mean, these guys, this road here that goes up this hill isn't such a big deal anymore, because we're dealing with engines in our vehicles at this point. So we're not really worried about horses and carts struggling to get uphill. That's not to say that I'm willing to go ahead and just not have this road that we've had for ages. I'd just like to sort of change it up a little bit. to sort of make it look a little better. So something kind of like that is what I'm looking for. We can also upgrade this entire stretch of road because I feel like we might as well, since it's been here for ages. And I guess that looks okay. I guess this can be upgraded too. And I have no idea what that's going to do for us right now. It does start to take some vehicles out and around though, which is good. I don't know which vehicles are going out and around just yet, but I'm curious to see what this does. And I'm hopeful that at the very least, it's going to give us some turning lanes. Like here should probably be a little bit wider as well. In fact, that is a main road going into Belfast. So we'll make that a little bit wider. We'll make you a little bit wider as well. And we'll see if that helps us out. It instantly looks like it sort of is, which is great. This junction here actually has traffic lights. It's the first time I've seen traffic lights in this series so far. That's very cool. I don't know if that's going to be good for us because we have a lot of traffic being held back by the traffic lights because there's two little junctions very close together. But I'm going to give it a moment and see what happens. And you know, it looks like this has kind of worked out, which is exactly what I was hoping for. I still stand by that this road could probably function and be useful, but I think we've got to the point where maybe I actually do commit and just get rid of this old road because we're just not using it. It's just not necessary. Maybe, I don't know. Do I want to keep that old road? I sort of do. I want to make that, I want to disconnect that for a second. And I think we could just bring this sort of around that. I mean, it doesn't look great, but I like the idea. I mean, it's a very common thing, right? Old roads tend to get upgraded and stuff like that. So we're not going to build an entire new road right there. We will upgrade a lot of these guys, just because we probably should. We'll upgrade you to something like this. We'll upgrade you to something like this. We'll upgrade that a little bit as well, just so all the intersections are nicely paved. And I guess that's okay. It sort of follows the hill. It follows the trees a little bit. It gives us some options for turning lanes and stuff like that, which actually we probably want to do here as well. Just again, so we have those turning lanes. That is very steep looking. Can I, again, I don't need to do this, but I have more money than I know what to do with right now. Because I don't have any big projects in mind just right now. But we'll bring this out. We'll bring this around. I think that just looks a little better. A little bit more of a gradual sort of thing going on there. I love that just 30 seconds ago I talked about, you know, preserving old roads and kind of keeping the old paths, and then I just carve out a big chunk of hill to make this a bit better. But it's fine. it's fine. That looks better. It moves better. We do have some traffic problems in here, which is slightly concerning. There's a lot of trucks trying to get out here, and I don't quite know what to do about that. Unless we could be a little bit cheeky and kind of have a back road here with this guy just going up and over the mountain. Maybe this is the solution, right? We'll bring this like down the hill. If I turn on my contour lines, this is just carving straight down the side of this hill, which I don't love, but it is the kind of road that would exist, right? It's a little back road that can get you to that intersection. I really hope traffic doesn't opt. Oh no. Oh, that could be bad. I really hope all of my traffic doesn't opt to use that. Although we can very, very easily check that, yeah, quite a few of them are, which is to be expected, but it should be fine. It should be okay. I don't know that it will be, but we'll see. Oh, you know what I've just realized? And it's really annoying that I've just realized this. I've been trying to figure out why we have a situation over in Leeds. If we look at this fuel refinery, Mullingar is listed as a consumer, but is not getting any transport. And I've been looking at that thinking, oh, it'll catch up and it'll figure itself out. What is the first thing that I did today in that whole production chain that we set up to bring fuel to Mullingar? The first thing that I did was build a little something to bring fuel from this truck stop into Mullingar. Would you like to know what I didn't do? I didn't buy vehicles. I didn't put any vehicles on that line. So that's why Mullingar hasn't been getting any fuel. Let me buy 3 of them. Let me paint them that purple color and let me put them on road cargo, Mullingar fuel to city. That line is set up to work properly. I hope it is not. So you are loading up on fuel. and then unloading everything. And that should now mean that fuel being delivered to Mullingar is a little bit more consistent. I cannot believe I didn't think to check that. That's really, really frustrating. Also really frustrating that we just have a ton of traffic around here. There's not a lot I can do about it other than turn traffic lights off. This back road definitely helped with traffic in Belfast though, which is great. So I guess we just leave the traffic lights. I guess that's all we can do. How are you looking? Your consumers, Limerick and Galway, could definitely use a bit more stone. So that's something we might want to be mindful of. Although I think what I'm going to do, honestly, I'd say stone, bricks. I think what I'm going to do is just save up a ton of money and upgrade these trains, because faster trains with more cargo capacity, I think would be a really good thing going down to Limerick. So we need to save like, I don't know, probably about $40 million. And actually something that's going to help with that is repaying my loans. We have 10 million in loans. We are repaying like $100,000 in interest every 6 months or something. So this is going to leave me with like $6 million, but I'm going to repay all of my loans because now I don't have loan interest, right? So we'll be making just a little bit more money, which is kind of fantastic. What's also fantastic is that the Leeds fuel refinery is now producing a ton of fuel and is well on its way to upgrading again, which it might very well do. Our consumers have 100% transport right now, which is very exciting as well. And I suppose that means that what I would like to do is make sure that this guy is producing as much as it can, which it totally is. Very, very happy about that. Almost at the upgrade point, which is very exciting as well. But what I would like to do is just manage these vehicles, and I'd like to modify you by adding another 10 tank cars, just so that the two trains on this line are now the same length, because I think that makes sense. That gives us a rate of 499, 503. It's going to be all over the place while the game figures out what the rate should be. Hopefully that means that we can get this guy to upgrade and increase its production. Although I think realistically to do that, we would need to add another consumer to the Leeds fuel refinery, which we can do. We can absolutely do. We have Castlebar, we have Tralee, we have Cork. We have 3 more consumers in Ireland alone. So that factory is going to be going kind of nuts. This guy, as long as it doesn't get overloaded, I'm going to be quite happy. This one down here, maybe I just move them. Would that be a better idea? Just move all of them down to here, which is a more purpose-built facility. And then use this as like a drop-off for anything. Like if we want to take bricks or tools over to Liverpool, we could use this as a drop-off point. That might actually make a lot more sense, because this one down here has so much more capacity than this tiny little thing. And it would be cool to see vehicles going up and down here, even if yeah, we're going to do that. we're going to do that really quickly is what we're going to do. So go in here into Belfast East. Belfast Central is no longer going to be doing anything. This is a fuel to city line. So just load up and fuel and get rid of Belfast Central. Totally fine. Not a big deal. When it comes to Dundalk fuel to city, we'll do the same thing. It is going from here, and it's going, instead of Belfast Central, it's picking it up here, which I'm fine with. I would like to make sure that the terminals are being split though. So let's put you in terminal 3 and that'll be all right. And then we have one guy left over here, Oma fuel to city. We're going to put you in this way and take out Belfast Central. Though we need to make sure that you are loading up on fuel, which you are. That should keep us pretty good. If we look in here, we want to move you to terminal 4, and that gives each of them a little terminal to pick up from. All the cargo has been moved over, which is great. This thing is going to stay here because, like I said, it can be a drop-off for things, which means we don't really need the building, but I'm not super worried about that. And I suppose ultimately, if we bring more stuff over from the mainland, like machines, those machines could go in here if they needed to, which I'm not against. And so with all of that said and done, I have a feeling this is going to wind up being one of the longer episodes of the series so far. I do apologize. I think we're going to leave it there for today is what I'm getting at. I think we're done for today. We need a ton of money to do what I would like to do next. So I'm going to let the game run for a little bit. Hopefully we don't unlock anything too major. And given how quickly we're making money, I think we'll be okay. But I am very, very happy with what we've managed to do. I really, really like how this has turned out. I love that we have passenger trains. I love that we're working towards some train upgrades. I love that we're finally bringing fuel over to Ireland in a pretty substantial way. And so ultimately, I think we really should turn our attention to Limerick and try our best to move more tools to Belfast, because I think it would be really cool to load those onto a boat and take them to Liverpool to make those boats even more profitable. And to be fair, there is also a lot we can do with the bricks situation as well. So we could, if we wanted to, start shipping bricks over to Liverpool as well. I think it's Leeds that wants the tools. I think Liverpool wants bricks. Either way, I would like my boats to be profitable in both directions, and that seems like a really easy way to make that happen. So with all of that said and done, and with all of that in mind, that is going to do us for today. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. This has been an absolute pleasure as always. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.